Hey, farm fans, what we're doing here today is something that a lot of you have been requesting, and that is a explanation of my new favorite tool, probably one of the finest tools that I personally ever created. Neil created it. I'm just joking. But that's the last time he's going to get credit for that too. There's a lot of things I've given him credit for 2 or 3 times, and that's about it.
Well, we have a standard payment plan.
And you should inform me what this payment plan is. I'm scared to ask, actually.
Just sign here, buddy.
Sign here. Okay, I've heard that before. I got married like that. But anyway.
Not to me, just so you know. We'll put Barb in the camera later, it'll be fine. We'll put a little picture up.
Anyway, this is the finest tool I think I've ever developed. And when I say that, what happened was I had a coaching client down in Ontario, and he knows that, people actually pay me to go and negotiate deals, and he loves watching me. He'd come down and negotiate a couple of deals for him, and he loves watching that. And he says, Ross, can you just write that down? I mean, I just love what you're doing. And I said, that's not really possible, Andrew. There's too many dynamics. I mean, I just never know what that owner is going to say. And so to write down a script when you don't know what the other person is going to say, it's pretty tough to do this sort of thing. And so he said, but there's got to be a way that we can duplicate what you do. And so when it comes to negotiation with the owner, what we're generally talking about is prices and numbers. I mean, it's not all that the negotiation surrounds, but a good part of the negotiation comes to numbers. And so what we have here is the owner's choice analysis spreadsheet. And even when I train people in our trainings, our rent-to-own trainings, and my coaching trainings on how to use this spreadsheet, people still want to. I still get a lot of questions. They still want to be, me to record a recording so that they know how to. They can watch it over and over and see some of the little nuances of what I do when I'm talking to an owner. So in today's video, this is an educational video. What we're going to do is Neil's going to be the owner, the property owner. Now, for those of you that know us in real life, Neil would never be a property owner.
Yeah.
I mean, property controller, yes. Because when you really know what you're talking about in real estate, it's all about owning or all about controlling and never owning anything. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
But most people who are in trouble in real estate is because they own it. So those are most people that we're talking to. They're owners, not controllers. All right, so it's all about controlling, never owning, and that's a whole different subject, not what we're going to talk about today. So Neil is going to be the owner, and I'm going to, normally this is usually about a 15-minute sit down with the owner, 15, 20 minutes max, where we're going to just ask the owner questions. Now the beautiful thing here is that the owner is going to come up with his own solutions. And we're going to give him 4 choices. I'm going to explain that in the end. And there's an old saying, the hardest person to argue with is yourself, right? I mean, yes it is, no it's not, yes it is, no it's not. I mean, you're insane. So when the owner gives you some numbers, it's pretty hard for you to argue back that that's not true, right?
Exactly.
And one of the things I want to start out by saying with this owner analysis spreadsheet is this, that you have to go in with the attitude that you don't care. This could be, whatever answer comes up here, it's his answers, it's his choice. This is called an owner's choice analysis spreadsheet. And quite frankly, you don't care. If you go in there trying to, persuade or to make the argument go into the negotiation go in negotiation go in a certain direction, that's not what this is developed for. This is developed so that he's going to come up with the answers, and it's going to be his choice in the end, and they're all going to work for you no matter what. All right? Because whatever works for him works for you. Is fair enough? So that's the attitude going in. So Neil, you're going to be a typical owner on a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, just to make it real typical. Sure. And by the way, does this have to be on single-family residential? No, it can work on any kind of property. This analysis, this owner's choice analysis spreadsheet works on anything. So, but we're going to do the typical 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in the $350,000 fair market value price range, today's fair market value price range. And I'm going to let Neil come up with the answers. We haven't rehearsed this, have we?
No.
I mean, this is just what you see is what you get. So if this doesn't look polished, it's because I'm not.
It's not.
Neil's very polished. I'm the furthest thing from polished.
Polish.
Well, polished. I mean, I never even polished in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Shoes
Hey, listen, I have somebody shine my shoes at the airport. That's about as polished as I get.
And that's
Fair enough?
true. That's true. I've seen it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to find out how somehow somebody pays to have my shoes polished, then everything's going to be good. All right. So, Neil, what we have here, I'm going to start and we're going to do this role playing, and because I've kind of set it up here now. Neil's going to be my owner, and we're going to set it up and I'm going to sit down with him, or show him this analysis spreadsheet. So I might go something along the lines like this. Hey Neil, I'm Ross.
Hi, Ross. Neil, nice to meet you.
Good Neil. Listen, and we're gonna, sidebar here. We're going to get through a lot of the preamble, and then we're gonna get finally down to the negotiation on the price and everything else. Okay? So we've done a lot of the small talk. So Neil, what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is I'd like to walk you through something I call my owner's choice analysis spreadsheet, because I know something about you, and I've only just met you. And you know what I know about you already?
What's that, Ross?
That unless this deal works for you, we're not going to have a deal. Would you agree?
Yeah, that pretty much makes sense.
I mean, because what I know is that you're in full control of this property. I mean, you own this property, and this is your deal, and if it doesn't work for you, I'm not going to have a deal. So whatever we come up with is, it has to work for you first. And the next thing I know about you is that you want to get the best deal possible. Is that right?
Oh yeah, of course.
So what we developed was something called an owner's choice analysis, and really this tool is designed so that it gives you an understanding of what would work best for you. This tool is not about what works best for Ross, because if it doesn't work for you, it's not going to work for me. Fair enough?
Fair.
And so try and be as realistic and as honest about the numbers as possible, because these numbers that you're going to tell me, that's going to let the spreadsheet do the work and show you how much how much money you would make, whether you on these 4 different choices that we have. Those 4 different choices are going to be, you could rent it by yourself and then sell it by yourself, which I think that's what you're doing right now. You're renting it out, and then you could sell it by yourself in the future, right?
Sure.
And the other choice would be, you could rent to own it on your own. I don't know if you ever heard of the rent to own business. You've probably heard of it, right?
I heard a little bit about it, yeah.
Right. And it's a very good way to do a single family home.
Is it?
A very profitable way. So you could do it yourself,
Okay.
or you could work with us and have no work on your part.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
As long as you were making more money working with us than you were doing
Well,
on
yeah,
your own,
I
right?
still want to make money and not do any work.
Yeah, and
That's
so
nice.
what my goal for you is, just so that we can be really, really clear, my goal for you is that at the end of the day, you're going to make more money working with me than you would doing it on your own.
Well, that sounds very good.
With no work on your part.
That's even better.
And that's my goal.
That's my cup of tea.
All right.
Let's see how this works.
The other thing is, you could just say, listen, I'm sick and tired of real estate, and I just want to sell this thing today and just be done. And we can look at those. So those are our 4 options. All right. So let me ask you, Neil, what would you initially pay for this property? Now, sidebar here, guys, all you have to do on this analysis spreadsheet, when Neil built it, it was all my ideas, but he built it. Joking.
True.
All you have to do is fill in the yellow spaces, and really start from the top and work your way down. Just fill in the yellow blanks. Okay? So watch how I do this. What did you originally pay for the property, Neil?
I bought it about $250.
$250,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just put in $250,000 there.
Okay.
And let me ask you, when you bought the property, how many years ago was that?
Oh, that was about 6 years ago now.
And what was the initial mortgage balance when you bought it?
I don't know the initial mortgage
Did
balance.
you get 80%?
But I got 80%.
So that was $200,000 then.
Was that 200,000? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
$200,000.
$200,000.
One more zero.
One more zero.
Okay. So we'll put that in mortgage balance of the purchase was $200,000.
Yep.
Okay. And what do you think the fair market value of the property today is, Neil? Now you'll notice, guys, sidebar, I like to use his name a lot. Matter of fact, at the beginning, I might have said, hi, Mr. Christensen, my name is Ross. Do you like to be called Mr. Christensen, or do you like me just to call you Neil? Which would you prefer? So I want to call him what he likes to be called, okay? So we are assuming that he'd like to be called Neil, and so on and so on. So Neil, what do you think the fair market value of the property is today? Now realize, sidebar again, it doesn't matter what he says. This is his analysis. Isn't this a great tool when it really doesn't matter what he says because it's all about him? I mean, it makes it easy for you. All you gotta do is fill in the blanks. So Neil, what do you think the fair market value of the home is today?
Well, I've been looking around. I'd say about 350.
About 350,000?
Yeah, about
that sounds reasonable. And by the way, I would have already known what that fair market value. If he had said it was 550,000, I mean, I would have to correct him. It would have to be reasonable. But if he's within 10 or 20,000 of what the actual fair market value, let it go. It doesn't really matter in the end. Okay. Now let me ask you this, Neil. When does your mortgage term come due? Because you probably have payout penalties and that sort of thing if you close it before that, right?
Yeah, I think I'm up for renewal in about 9 months.
Okay, you're up for a renewal in 9 months. And if I wanted to, if you wanted to extend that, say, for another couple years, would that be an issue?
Well, I could certainly renew it for as long as I'd like. I mean, I could hold this property forever, technically.
So let's just say that you renewed it for another 24 months. So that would be, what is 24 and 9?
Well, usually it's 33.
Okay, so let's just say we close it in 33 months.
Okay.
Because 9 months might be a little bit quick.
A little bit quick?
Yeah, so let's do 33 months, okay?
Right, sure.
I mean, we might do it in 9 months, but can we just say 33?
Sure. Well,
Generally speaking, we like to do something around the 3-year mark. Okay, that's generally what we're looking for. Anywhere around there, doesn't matter. Okay, now, Neil, let me ask you this question. What do you think over the next almost 3 years, 33 months, what do you think the annual appreciation would be over the next 3 years?
I'd say somewhere in the 4% range.
You think it's going to go up 4% a year?
Yeah, it's about the national average usually, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. I'd say about 4%.
I guess it is. I mean, who knows, right? Okay. Again, whatever he says is good because it's going to be applied right across the board. So unless he says something crazy like
12%.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we know. It's just at that point, just slap him beside the head and say, "Wake up, dummy!" All right. Well, hey, that's the redneck way. I'm not saying that works for you. It works for me.
That's how.
If I don't get the answer I want, I slap the guy on the side of the head and say, "Hey, wake up!"
We'll edit that.
Boom. All right. No, we won't. That's just, hey, what you see is what you get. All right. That's the way I roll, man. Okay. Now, so it's going to go up. So you're saying, Neil, if we could just look at this property over here, if you rent it and then sell it by yourself in 33 months, it should be around $389,000, right?
Yeah, I was thinking in about 3 years it'd be worth about 400-ish. So that's
okay. So we're saying 389. So Neil, if it's worth 389, if it does go up 4% a year, most people don't get what they asked for. If they want to at least have a quick sale anyway. What would you want to sell that property, knowing that it's worth about, well, we could call it 390,000. What would you want to sell that for? Would it be, 380, 385? How much would you like this? What do you think you could actually get for it? If it's worth 390, what could you actually get it for?
Well, I guess it would depend on the market.
It does, yeah. So just, whatever number is good for you is good for me, because this spreadsheet, Neil, I'm going to give you a copy of it, and this is going to be yours to take home and look, and you can actually play with it if you want,
Cool.
So this is all about you. It's nothing to do with Ross.
All right.
And so I'm just trying, whatever number you tell me here, that's the number that works best for you.
So why don't we say 380 and see what that does? Because I'll take 10 grand off the...
You would take 10 grand off?
Yeah.
Okay. So 380,000, oops, I did it the wrong place.
I don't think we have 380,000% appreciation.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
You're welcome. Anytime you need correction, you just come and see me. I'm here for you.
Yes, and I understand that. Okay. Now, trust me. Now, Neil, you might not know this, but when you're doing a rent to own, you will get pretty close to full market value.
Okay, so I'd get 390,000?
Yeah, we could say that.
Okay.
So, I usually give the tenants a little bit of a deal. So I would actually go at 385. Because I like to, give them a little bit of a...
Give them a break, sure.
And now, this one here where it says working with me and no work on your part,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave this at 0 for now, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because it's my goal, Neil, that at the end of the day, you make more money working with me than you do this on your own. Remember I said that?
Yes, you did.
So I don't know what that number is going to be. So I'm going to fill that number in at the end after I know how much money you make, so I can make you a really nice offer. Does that make sense? Because that's, remember what I said, if it doesn't work for you, I'm not going to have a deal, so I really want to make sure it works for you.
All right.
Fair enough?
Fair
Okay.
enough.
Now, in how many months do you think it's going to be before you actually are able to, if you're going to sell it today, you'd have to list it with a realtor. It might take what? How long do you think it would take to sell it with a realtor? 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, say 3.
3 months. And then when the day that it's sold is not the day that the new owners move in, so it'd probably be a couple months after that.
Sure.
So could we say that you would have to, if you decided to sell it today, 5 months from now you could have it sold? Would that be reasonable?
5 months I'd have money in my pocket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, we can do that.
Well, whatever you tell me, I'll put in any number you want there.
Well, I'm just trying to think, if we have 3 months on a realtor.
And then 2 months before it closes, that'd be 5 months total.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay.
Does that make
5.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in 5 months' time, what would you sell it for? It's worth $350 today, and you're gonna put it on the market for what? $350?
Yeah, just listed at
$350. What would you take for it? If you were to sell it today, what would you said 10 grand off over there? Would you take 10 grand off here?
That's 10 grand off 390.
No, 350. It's worth 350 today.
Yeah, but the 10 grand was off 390.
Yeah, so would you take 10 grand off of this price, 352, or as well? I mean,
Well, it's gone up 4%.
over 5 months, but you're going to list it on today's value.
350. Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, let's say 340. Let's see what happens.
340?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I mean, you can always change this later.
I can
if you
change
want.
my mind. I'm good at that.
You can. Now, Neil, when you bought this property, what we're going to decide now is what your original purchasing costs were going to be. So, because you bought this property in BC, there was land transfer tax. Do you remember what that was?
Not a clue, but
Okay, I know what it was, Neil. It was about, I'm just going to make this up because I don't have the land transfer tax calculator here, but you would have it, and it would be about 3 grand, okay, Neil?
sure.
So we'll
Sounds
put
about right.
$3,000 in there, okay? Maybe 3,500, something like that. I think it'd be closer to 3,500.
Sure.
So we'll do it like that. Oops. All right, now, Neil, when you bought it, what did your lawyer charge you for legal?
Usually buying a house on my side is about $1,000.
$1,000? Okay.
Usually about 1,000.
Whatever he says, it's okay. We don't care. Now, Neil, over the time that you've owned this property, and maybe even including when you originally bought it, when you originally bought it, did you put any money into it for repairs?
About 5,000. Yeah.
5,000. And since you've owned it, you said you bought it 6 years ago.
Yep.
So over the last 6 years, how much money have you put into it on repairs?
Oh,
And this is again just roughly because I'm trying to figure out how much money you're going to make on this deal at the end. So a rough estimate at this time is fine.
if we said about 2,500 a year, I'd say we'd be about close.
Wow. So that's can you add that up? That's 6 years times. Well, in the first year you put 5, so it'd only be 5 years times 2,500, right?
I'm sorry.
The first year when you bought it, you put 5 into it. You
Oh.
probably didn't put a 2,500 on top of that in.
Probably, yeah.
So 5 times 2,500 is how much?
17. Your total is 17,500.
17,500. Does that sound reasonable to you? That's what you put into it for repairs?
Seems a little high, but
Would you like me to adjust it, or do you want me to
probably
leave
put it at 16.
16,000?
Sure, put it at 16.
Okay, well I'll put it at 16.
Sorry, I
Okay.
changed my mind.
Right.
See, I'm good at changing my mind, apparently.
Yeah, you and my wife. Yeah. All right, now, when you bought the property, did you have any lender's fees from the lender?
No.
No lender's fees. Did you pay a mortgage broker?
No.
No mortgage
paid by
broker
the
fees.
bank.
And of course, I don't think you got an environmental, did you?
No.
Did you do an inspection?
Yes.
How much was the inspection, Neil?
$500 for a nice 1 ring inch binder.
It's amazing. Eh? You know, all those appraisers and inspectors, they all have, autofill almost. Eh?
It's crazy talk.
Yeah. Okay, and did you get an appraisal done or the bank took care of that?
That was included.
With the mortgage?
Well, no, we actually had to pay for it, so it was about $300. But the bank, I didn't include it in the legal expense.
So did you
It was
want me to put 300 there?
Put $300 there. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
And what about miscellaneous things like this property was right in your neighborhood, I assume, so you didn't have to travel to look at it?
No. But I did buy title insurance.
Oh, you did? Was that included in your mortgage, or was that something you had bought on top?
No, that was on top. It was another $300.
Oh, you got pretty cheap title insurance, eh? And did you do a real property report?
No, the seller had one.
Oh, that was good. All right, that's a survey for you guys don't know. And you left it in your own name, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Silly. Okay, anyway, so he's got it in his own name. So really, you've got $300 for a site, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So another $300. And when you opened, did you have to new utility account setup fee or anything? Neil?
No, none of that.
Okay. And it wasn't rented when you bought it?
No, it was vacant, so I did a little fix up on it.
Oh, okay.
That
That's
was
what's
at
put the $5,000 in there.
$5,000.
So your total original purchasing cost and what you put into it on repairs over the last 5 years come to $21,600. Does that seem about right to you?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the next thing we want to discuss is the monthly income.
Sure.
So what are you renting it out for right now, Neil?
So as a sidebar, do I have a suite or is this a single family?
No, it's just a single family rental.
Single family rental. I'm getting $1,600 a month for it.
Okay, $1,600 a month right now.
Yeah.
And Neil, when you rent to own it, there's some funny laws out there, and especially in Ontario, Manitoba, that don't allow you to make money on a rent. So usually we want to charge on a rent to own, and I know you don't know this.
This is where it gets fun, guys. Really.
I know you don't know this, Neil, because he doesn't know much, this guy. But anyway,
Pretty clueless.
You want to get a fair market rent as high as you can, okay?
All right.
So let's just say you get fair market rent at $1,600. But on top of that, Neil, you would also get what we call something called a option consideration, a monthly option consideration on top of that.
Really?
Which I'm going to suggest to you probably about $300.
Okay.
Okay, right? Now, so that means that your income would be $1,900 if you rent to own it yourself, versus $1,600 if you just straight rent it out. Now, with me, Neil, I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit of a break. Now, let me ask this, Neil. Since you wouldn't have to worry about those maintenance repairs that you said have cost you like $2,500 a year, is there any way that you can give me a little bit of a break on the rent? I mean, because I'll be taking care of all those maintenance repairs, which you won't have to worry about.
Well, how about we split it? I'll give you $100 off because it's about $200 a month is what you're saving me. So I'll split it with you.
You're a generous guy, eh?
I figure 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Well, at this point in time, Neil, I'm not going to argue with you.
Excellent.
Okay. Because
I'm trying to give him a hard time, but not too hard.
It's all about you, buddy. Okay. Now, of course, if you're going to sell it right away, it's not rented out right now, is it?
It's rented out right now.
Oh, so you would? How much are you getting right now?
$1,600 a month.
$1,600. So you would rent it out.
Fine.
Okay. Sometimes it's vacant. You put 0 there, okay? Because that's why he's actually interested in talking to you, because it could be vacant right now.
It could be vacant right now. Did you want to make it vacant? Sidebar?
No.
No? All
Let's
right.
keep going with
Keep
this
going
thing.
it.
But a lot of times the properties are vacant. That's why we are there. That's why we're at this table talking to this
Confused owner.
confused. Well, not only that, he's an owner. He hasn't learned to call himself a controller yet. But anyway,
Fair enough.
one day he too will be a farmer fan and come to a Farmer Logic training where he'll learn all about control and not own. Okay? Now, Neil, what do you normally allow for a vacancy on a property?
Well, the area average is 6%, Ross. So I usually budget for 6.
Okay, so what that would mean, Neil, is that it's vacant for 3 weeks a year.
Okay.
All right? Does that seem reasonable to you?
Well, it seems like a nice number, but I don't know if it's real.
Okay, so sidebar, the average vacancy rate for a single family home is actually 12.5%. But I'm gonna go with whatever he says. All right, I might suggest to him that if he doesn't know, I can say, well, the average is 1.5 months a year, which is 12.5% of your income. All right.
What I was trying to go with was what the apartment block.
Oh, the apartment blocks could be 6%, but that's got, that's because they got 50 units in there, and so if 6%, it's, that makes sense. But when it's a single family home, when it's vacant, it's 100% vacant.
Exactly.
So if it's vacant for a month and a half, that's 12.5% of your income per year.
Yeah, you can't use the 5% for a single family house.
That's
It
right.
doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I was trying to bring that up, but
Yeah. Why didn't you just say it next time?
well, I wanted to give you the glory. I just want to help you out, make you look
Listen,
good.
you know what? They're gonna find out where all the glory exists anyway. I mean, they just look at. I
It's in
mean,
the editing room floor, guys. That's where all the glory is.
no,
right there.
let me explain. You see this, and you see this. The girls can't resist.
Jeez.
What am I killing you over here?
Get on the spreadsheet.
All right. So what do you want me to put in there? 12.5%.
Let's go 12.5.
12.5 is the average vacancy on a single family home.
Let's
we'll
do
use
real
that.
numbers.
All right. Now that means you lose $6,600 a year, or
Still my beating heart.
yeah,
Okay.
over the next 3 years, not per year. All right, because
Sure.
this is over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
term. Now on a rent to own, you shouldn't have any vacancy.
You're guaranteeing me not to have vacancy.
No,
right?
I'm going to guarantee, but you shouldn't have vacancy either when you do it on your own. You see, this is doing it on your own.
Right.
I'm going to say, hey, even if it goes vacant, I'm going to continue to pay you. I know you like that, right?
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah. And I don't think you're going to have any vacancy over the next 5 months, but maybe you will because.
I have to show it. I have to kick him out at some point.
So you want to go 50%?
Yeah, sure. That
50%
sounds
vacancy?
reasonable. Because I got to kick him out before I can let the new people take occupancy.
All right. And by the way, when they find out you're selling it, they'll be moving out anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the nice thing about this is that there's when you're doing a rent to own, you get additional initial option consideration. But if you're renting it, you don't get that, Neil. But if you were going to do this, I would highly suggest to you that you should be collecting a minimum of $8,000 from the rent to own tenant right up front.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how did I come up with that? I took the 1,600 and the 300, the 1,600 rent and the $300 monthly. That came to 1,900. I multiplied that by 4 and just rounded up the next 1,000, which came to $8,000. Okay. So, in case you're wondering how I came up with that number. Now, with me, Neil, you're not going to get $8,000 from me because I'll be the one collecting the $8,000,
Oh.
not you.
Oh.
Okay.
I'd split it with you.
No, that doesn't work that way. I'm a greedy little pig. I'm gonna take it all. Okay.
The truth. The truth.
I would. Never mind. Okay, but what I am gonna give you, Neil, is I'm gonna give you $100.
Oh, I'm rich. Take the wife to.
Now let me show you this. And of course, if you're gonna sell it, you're not gonna have anything coming in there. So let me look at this here. Your total effective gross income over the term, over the next 33 months, if you continue to rent it out, be $46,000. If you decide to rent it on your own, it'd be $70,700. With me, it'd only be $49,600. And if you sell it right away, you'll have an extra $4,000 coming in. Now, here's the deal. So far, Neil, I think you're saying to yourself, well, I'm making more money doing it on my own, but there's not that much difference between.
Yeah, no, it's pretty close.
So, it's not. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay. So let's continue on. The next thing we want to look at, Neil, is the operating expenses for your property.
Sure.
I mean, you have income coming in, which you just talked about. Now we got to deal with the operating expenses. Fair enough?
Sure.
Neil, can I ask you, what are the annual taxes on this property?
$2,300 a year.
$2,300 a year. All right. And what do you pay for insurance per year on this property?
Well, I've got replacement insurance, so mine's about $1,500.
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal, actually. I think.
Okay. And repairs and capital improvements, what do you expect it?
It's been about $2,500 a year.
Okay. Now, guys, if they didn't know, and they were even saying, "Oh, I don't have any repairs," all right, then you simply scroll down, and I'm just going to show you for a minute. You simply scroll down here, and you go down to, well, let's just figure out what that is going to be. And so Neil and I will quickly do this just so you know how to fill this in. So let's just pretend that Neil wasn't one of these educated owners, and he actually thought that his place was like his skin, that it self-healed. All right, that he never, because I actually have run into owners who think, oh, I never have to repair anything, right? Okay, so Neil, what do you think that you would pay for painting on an annual basis? Oh, I never paint, but yeah, Neil, every time when a tenant moves out every 3 or 4 years, you have to paint, right?
Yeah.
So what does that cost you?
Probably interior, you're probably looking at about $1,200.
$1,200 to paint the interior.
Yeah. Maybe
So
something like that.
Neil, I guess that would work out to about what, $300 a year?
If it's every 4 years, yeah.
Okay, so, and Neil, do you ever have to replace the flooring?
Oh, I never have to replace the flooring. Ross.
Never, eh?
No.
Okay, so is that true?
No, I'd say probably about $3,000 every 4 years. Ballpark.
$3,000 every 4 years.
Maybe every 6 years. Depends on what kind of carpet you get, how long it
Okay,
lasts.
so
What do you think?
that's $6,000, so that's $500 a year, so about $50 a month,
Sure.
or $500 a year. I mean, we just call it 500 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about a roof? You have to replace the roof once in a while, right?
Yeah, roof's going to be about
$6,000,
sure.
and it's going to be last about 15 years. So
Sure.
what?
So 6,000 divided by 15, just hit equals.
About 500
a month.
a year.
Sure, that's 7. Yeah,
6 years.
sure.
You want me to? I'll just go equals.
Yeah, if you do it that way, then
6,000
let the thing do the actual math.
divided by
To what, 15?
15 years.
400.
$400 a year.
Jeez, he's almost like a calculator, guys. It's pretty crazy.
And do you ever clean the furnace? You should.
I think it's about $200 a year.
So about $200 a year for cleaning the furnace. And do you ever have to hire any kind of a trade, a plumber, electrician,
Wow.
carpenter, mechanical guy?
Usually once a year. You gotta
Once a
hire
year.
guy, Once the guy.
And
once
so he's going to have a 3-hour minimum, $90 an hour, is $270 if you have to do any materials. Can we just say $300 a year just for trades?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And then exterior. Do you ever do anything on the exterior, Neil?
Oh no, I never do anything. Nah, never mind.
Oh, so you never fix the fence, you never paint the fence, you never fix the eaves troughs, you never.
A little bit of landscaping here and there.
No, never.
No.
No.
I'd say, what do you figure? Exterior maintenance, you're probably looking at what?
A couple $100 a year.
Yeah, $500.
I mean,
200. Okay.
and now Neil, every 10 years you have to replace the water tank. You just had to do that. $1,300. That's $130 a year, right?
Sure.
So, anything else I'm missing?
Well, you're probably missing stuff, but you're in the right ballpark.
So that's $2,000 a year. And so, guys, Neil, we have only scratched the scratch
Barely.
of what it actually costs to maintain a home. Okay. Now, an older home is going to be more than this, guys.
You start breaking a window.
All right. So, when we say $2,500 a year, we're pretty close right on what it is actually going to cost you to maintain and repair your home. And that's that's if you have good tenants. If you've got one bad tenant, that's going to be triple.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
easily triple. All right, so let's go back. Go back to here. So Neil, repairs and capital improvements for the next 3 years. We could actually say, do you want to use that $2,500?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
2,500. I think it's close.
Now, Neil, who pays the electricity?
Oh, tenant does.
Oh, so you don't have to worry about electricity then.
No.
Well, Neil, you just told me that it's going to be vacant a month and a half a year. I've never met the tenant that says, "Hey, Mr. Landlord, until you find another tenant, just keep sending me the bills."
If you find a tenant like that, you just let me know.
Yeah, you send them to us, okay? So, Neil, electricity, what does that cost you if the place was vacant, do you think?
Probably a little less than normal. So normal would be about $100. So why don't we say 75 on a vacancy?
So 75 for a month and a half, $120
Sure.
for a month and a half.
Sure.
And what about gas? For a month and,
Probably about the same.
$120 for gas.
You're not gonna have it at full blast, but you're gonna have to keep the pipes from freezing, right?
And is water and sewer included in your taxes?
In this case, yes, water.
It
and
is,
sewer
okay. And now, what about lawn and snow? Did the tenant do that?
No, I do it when it's vacant.
Very interesting, Neil. So let me suggest this to you. We want to compare apples to apples, right?
Sure.
And since over here in this working with me and no part work on your part, I'll be doing the snow removal.
You work for free?
No, I don't mean me, but
Oh.
our company. All right.
All right.
Then I want it to be compared apples to apples. So I'm suggesting to you that you should probably allow something because your time is worth something. Now, if you don't want to allow anything, that's fair enough, but I think you're really not getting, remember, it doesn't matter what happens here. whatever happens here on all of these choices, it's really your choice. And all I want to do is do a fair comparison so you could make a really good decision about which one of these you want to do that's best for you. Because really, that's what this is all about. Best for you, not for me. This is all about you.
All right.
So, what do you think it would be worth to have somebody do the lawn and snow for a month and a half, or let's say per month?
Per month.
50 bucks a month?
Yeah, $50 a month ought to cover
So
it.
$75 for a month and a half?
Sure.
And the cable is paid by the tenant?
Yeah.
And advertising?
I've experienced that Kijiji and Craigslist have been very good to me.
And they're free?
They're free, but there's usually a small charge if you want to get to the top of the
Okay,
search
so
results.
what do you, what should I allow per year for that?
Geez, if you put $50 in there, you'd probably be a little high. So,
So you want to go 40?
yeah, go 50. Go 50.
Go 50?
You get a little extra.
Okay. And what about pest control, Neil? Do you want to, do you ever have to get rid of any pests or anything like that?
You're calling bad tenants? Because they're a pest.
Well, you know, besides your bad tenant pests, do
Sorry,
you
the
have any?
jokes don't get any better.
Yeah, no. Do you have any?
Bed bugs are wonderful.
Oh yeah,
I love bed bugs.
The last one cost me $3,000. Yeah. So
Yeah, there's definitely some allowance there. $75.
while $140 is normal for a year, I
For
can
a single family, yeah.
for a single family because you might not have any bugs this year or any. No, when we're talking about pests, we're talking about mice. We're talking about wasps and bees and rats and yeah. And the big
Termite.
one, of course, is bed bugs, right?
You get termites.
Carpenter ants, yeah. And they all cost money to get rid of. So let's just go with the normal is $140 a year. Shall we go with that?
Perfect.
And by the way, if your owner doesn't want you to says no, zero, then put it there. Realize and let him know that this is not, you're not really comparing apples to apples. You're not really living in reality. But listen, if you get into an argument with him over these numbers, guess what? He's not going to believe you in the end because he can't argue with you if these are all his numbers. But if you start influencing him and putting your numbers in, then he's not going to believe the result at the end. So it's important just to tread very lightly here, maybe suggest a couple of things, but they have to be his numbers in order for this to be the most powerful spreadsheet for you. All the answers have to come from this guy. Because he can't go, yes, and I go, no at the end, because then he's arguing with himself. Hope that makes sense. All right? Now, what about changing the locks when the tenant moves out?
Well, I usually just keep a couple extra sets of deadbolts.
Okay. So do you want to compare apples and apples? What is your time worth to do that?
Oh, I hired my handyman guy to come in and just.
Oh,
do
so
it
what
for
does
me.
that cost you?
He usually just charges me like $50 to swap a set.
So can we say $50 a year?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's reasonable.
And trash move, is that included in the taxes, Neil?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And
Other than that extra stuff, when a tenant vacates and leaves me with all of their lovely belongings of such high value.
oh yeah, and Neil, did I tell you on this past Saturday that on one of our properties we took 16,400 pounds
Only
of trash?
Only 16,000 pounds out.
16,400
Wow.
16,400
400.
pounds of trash out of this property.
What was your record, by the way, Ross?
My record is 28,300 pounds in 4 months.
From one house.
One house, one
Single
tenant,
family house.
with one tenant in it, one man, no family.
Yeah.
So I'm doing good, eh?
You're doing pretty good. 16,000.
I can pick 'em.
Midland.
I can pick
You
them.
can pick them.
Yeah. Okay.
Bad debts.
Well, actually, this was not our tenant that left the 16,400 pounds. This was a property that we took over, and the tenant, the landlord that,
We were fixing their problem.
yeah, we're taking over her problem property, and we had to, in order to put our tenant in, we had to take 16,400 pounds of trash out. Lovely. Okay. Now, bad debts. That's when the tenant is in the property, but he's not paying. Do you ever have any issues with that?
Not often, but I know it has happened to some friends of
So
mine.
we'll leave it at 0 for now.
Leave it at 0 for now.
Okay.
I don't get that often.
And what about eviction costs? You ever have to hire a bailiff or
yeah.
a?
Once in a while.
Yeah, you do.
Once in a while. If
So-
we said $100 there, that we'd probably. It's not
Okay.
going to happen every year, but once in a while you're going
All
to
right.
have it.
Now, Neil, this one over here is management. And remember, we wanted to compare apples to apples.
Right.
Okay. So when you're renting it by yourself, I know that so far you've been managing it yourself.
Yeah.
But we want to compare apples to apples. Neil, you can take this out later if you want.
Sure.
But to compare all of these things fairly,
Yeah.
we want to leave the we want to actually put a management fee in this one right now. Even though this is your spreadsheet and you go ahead and take it out later, I think to compare them properly right now, we need to put a management figure in there. Now, Neil, a typical management company will charge 10% on a single family home.
So you're talking $160 a month.
Well, what we're talking about is this is the gross income over the term,
Right.
52,800. So that means your management cost would be 5,280 over the term.
Over the term, right.
Okay?
Sure.
So 5,280 if you were going to have somebody manage it for you in order to compare apples to apples. And I would say if you're going to do a rent to own, you should do that as well. Because your time's worth something. You should
Sure.
pay yourself something.
So the same amount then.
So the same amount. That's what I'm thinking.
Now you're only taking 10%, or rather you're taking 10% of the gross on the rent, not 10% of the gross on the option.
That's right.
All right.
Okay. And now we're going to deal with this sell today figure in a minute here. Okay. Now accounting, it is a business.
Yeah.
You're running a business. How much would you pay your accountant, or maybe even some legal fees every year, do you think?
Well, as this particular property is owned by myself personally, my accountant's going to do it on my personal. I'd say add another $500.
$500, okay. And can we say the same thing when you're doing rent to
Sure.
own, or be
Sure, I'd say it's about the same.
okay? And of course, with me,
I still have a property.
You
I
still
still
have
have to
property,
pay.
so I would say 500 there too, is right?
Yeah.
And let me ask this: is your accountant going to, if you sell it today, is they're going to do a wrap up?
Yeah, so I'd say double it, put $1,000 on it.
Put $1,000 here on if you sell it today.
Yeah.
Now, before we go on and we talk about your debt service, your mortgage payment, what I want to talk about is all these blanks over here. This one here is $300 is for electricity. We've got this one in here for the gas. Now, we didn't fill in for water and sewer. You said that's including the
it's included.
taxes.
Yeah.
And then for lawn and snow for the next 2 months when it's vacant, did you want to put 100?
Yeah, I better put 100 in there because we want it to look nice too while it's being
Yeah.
sold, right?
And
So-
what about the cable? You don't have to worry about that. You don't advertising. You're hiring a realtor. Or you're selling it yourself.
Advertising, I think I'm going to hire a realtor.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we'll
no
talk
have to worry about that. Pest control, I think you're okay for the next
3 months.
3 months. You'll be okay. You don't have to worry about changing any locks.
After the tenants move out, I think it would be a good idea to change the locks.
So what do you want to put? $50
$50
for that?
Same deadbolt.
Okay. And trash removal.
There's no guarantee that the tenants are going to leave the place in a trash-free environment, so why don't we put like $100 there just to take a trip to the dump?
At least I would say.
At least, all right. How much do you think?
I think I would put a couple hundred in there just to be
Because
safe.
you just did 16,000 pounds, so he knows what the most
No,
recent bill is.
no bad debts, no eviction costs, management you don't have to worry about, and $1,000 there. All right.
Sure. Are we going to put 0 for management? My time is not worth anything for the next 2 months that I'm vacant.
You really don't have nothing to manage there.
Okay, I'm not managing anything.
Okay. Now debt service, and this is where I've got another tab on my sheet over here down at the bottom. It says mortgage amortization, and we're going to click on that because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk to Neil about what his debt service is. I mean, he did start out, if you remember, with a mortgage balance at the purchase of $200,000. So now we have to figure out what his debt service is. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to say, okay, Neil, your purchase price you told me was $250,000, correct?
Yep.
And you got an 80% loan to value mortgage,
Yep.
or you gave the bank that loan to value. You didn't have any CMHC fees because of that, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Which means you had an initial mortgage of $200,000, and you said you were into the mortgage already for 6 years. Is that correct, Neil?
6 years. You got it.
All right. Now, do you think the average interest rate has been for you over the last 6 years?
Oh, it's been pretty low. I'd say it's about 2.79.
Over the last 6 years? No.
You don't think it's been that low?
No, it just went under 3 in the last year.
Okay, so then it's been about 3.35.
3.35? So you got a pretty good deal then.
I got a pretty good deal.
And it was amortized over 25 years?
I didn't get as good a deal as I thought I'd got.
It was a 25-year amortization?
Definitely.
So does that make sense? Your payments have been about $983 a month?
Yeah,
Neil?
that sounds about right. Sure.
Sounds about right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to the first page and we're going to plug this $983 in right here where it says debt service. All right? We're going to put $983 in right there because that's part of his expenses. Okay? So over the next 33 months, Neil will spend $32,439 on debt service alone. Okay, so now look at this. We're going to go and we're going to, this is where it gets really, really interesting with the owner, because this is big reality check right about now. Notice that it's effective gross income. That means his gross income minus his vacancy, which means the real money that comes into his pocket is $46,000. But he just told me, and I used his numbers, that his operating expenses are $57,000. Now, even if he's self-managing, now watch this. I'll take out that management fee and make it 0. Even if he's self-managing, his expenses are $52,000. His cash flow is a negative $5,800. He's actually losing $178 a month, and he's self-managing. This is reality. And this is a little property. Can you imagine if that mortgage was $300,000, how much he'd be losing per month? What I have found out, guys, is that the average homeowner that owns a property that has 20% down or greater, or less, is losing somewhere between $400 and $600 a month. So for Neil to only be losing $177 and self-managing is pretty good. If we put that managed back in, he's actually losing $338 a month.
If I was paying myself.
I mean, that's crazy.
Oh.
That's nuts. Okay, now, Neil, the good news is for you over here is if you rent to own it yourself, you actually be making $667 a month, which is a lot better than losing $338 a month. I think you'd have to agree, right?
It's about $1,000 difference.
It's $1,000 different. Now, the good news for maybe you don't think it's good news, but if you do no work on your own, you're still making $188 a month with me.
And that again, that's another $500 difference. So
comparing apples to apples, not him managing or not managing and me managing, same thing. So there's a $500 difference right here.
Or $1,000.
But Neil, you probably don't think that this is looking too good for you here right now, right? You're probably thinking,
Well, I definitely like the higher number.
You like this one better, right?
The higher number looks better.
And Neil, you have to realize that over the next 5 months that you're going to be selling this place, you better put about $5,500 away, because you're going to have $5,490 negative cash flow just by selling the property, okay?
Yeah.
Which is going to come right off your selling price.
Yeah. Well,
Which is we're going to talk about next, which is your selling costs. So Neil, if you were going to rent this out for the next 33 months and then sell it, what do you think it would cost you to get the property ready to show?
well, it's been rented pretty steadily for 6 years, and I did a bit of a fix up when I first bought it, $5,000. So it's probably time. It probably needs some paint. I can guarantee you it needs paint. It's probably going to need some carpets, if not all carpets.
So
you're looking at, well, I'd say about $5,000 from the sounds of it.
is that labor and material?
That's everything in.
Okay, so $5,000, and if you were going to rent it to own it on your own, you probably don't have anything because they're going to buy the property, we're going to assume. And with me, you wouldn't have to have any expense. And if you're going to sell it today, what do you think it's going to cost you to get it all fixed up to sell today?
Sorry, I thought that's what we were talking about. If we were going to get the property show ready,
Yeah,
if we're selling it by ourselves.
so $5,000 right now. But then what about in 3 years, 33 months time? Is it still going to cost you $5,000 or a little more?
No, because if we're doing this in 33 months and selling it, probably a little more.
About 7,000?
Yeah, say 7. Because if I'm not doing it now,
Okay.
it's going to be more. It's going to be more wear and tear 3 years from now.
Now, of course, you'd have lots of income for those 5 months during the sale period
Okay.
that you'd have to account for.
Okay.
And $1,600 that you said was what you're making times 5. That is $8,000, right?
Yeah.
So it cost you $8,000.
Assuming the tenants moved out right away.
Right, and it wouldn't cost you any. Well, I can change that if you want, Neil, because really these are your numbers. If you want me to make that less, and you want to do it for 3 months like you did the other one, or 2 months, do you want to just do 2?
Let's do 3 months of vacancy because
3 months of vacancy.
you
So
know,
we'll
the tenants
change-
have to tell me notice, and then they're going to be paying me for the next 1 or 2
so
months.
that's $4,800 instead.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more
And
reasonable.
that you wouldn't have that if you rented on yourself. You wouldn't have that if you did it with me. And selling
It'd be
today,
the same. It would be 4,800.
well, we already included that up there.
Did we?
Yeah, up here.
50% vacancy. Okay, there you go.
All right.
So we did 2.5.
So we've
months.
included that.
That's good.
Now, advertising, if you're, or realtor's fees, you said you're going to use a realtor.
Yes.
And-
He's cheap. It's only 6% of the flat.
And you think you're going to sell it for 6% of this price up here, which you said you would sell for 380,000.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll do an equals $380,000, right?
That's 38,000.
Just test you, Neil, just test you. Times
Got to keep him honest.
6%, right?
Sure.
So $22,800.
He's making a good chunk of change.
Now, you wouldn't spend that here if you
No.
did rent to own,
No.
and you wouldn't have to spend that here if you work with me.
Nope.
But if you sell the property, you said for today's price was 340, you still 6% on that?
Yeah, it would be the same.
So then we'll do, this one will go equals 340,000 times 6% on this one too, right?
Sure.
So that means you'd spend 20,400 on the realtor there. Now, I'm sure you're gonna advertise if you use a realtor.
No, I'm not. He's
All
paying
right.
for that.
And legal, what do you think you're gonna spend on the legal for your
For a mortgage or paying out everything, discharging mortgage,
Yeah.
closing, all that kind of stuff. I'd say another 1,000.
$1,000?
Sure.
Okay, good lawyer. And you'd spend that over here too, right?
Yeah. And I'm gonna have that on the rent to own myself.
And yeah, if you did that, you'd have it here. I'd say more. I'm just gonna tell you, I think it's gonna be about $2,500.
Really?
And with me, I'm gonna suggest it's probably gonna be about $1,500, just a little more, because there's a couple more complicated deals here.
All right.
Okay? I just want you to be,
I'm paying that then. If I'm doing the work, I'm getting the bill there.
you'd get a bill here, but you know what? It would be, probably be around 1,000, but we'll leave 1,500 just in case.
So I'm still paying the bill though.
Well, I've got to pay my legal costs, but you got a lawyer too involved. Your lawyer, like we're going to have 2 different lawyers. I'm going to have my lawyer, you're going to have your lawyer.
All right.
Most lawyers don't want to do, where they act for the same party.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
All right.
And 3 years from now, it could be more. So lawyer fees, it could be more. So we could put 1,000 there if you want, but I'm thinking, just leave it at 1,500 and then you're safe. Does it make sense? I'd rather you be pleasantly surprised than bitterly disappointed.
Well, 0 would make me pleasantly surprised.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, you've got to have your, right? Now, management fees. You don't have to pay management at closing. And you don't have to pay a manager at closing
Nope.
here, but you are going to pay me.
So now you want me to pay you as well as
Yeah, and I charge $200 a month. So that would be $6,600 over the next 3,300 months. Well, sometimes I say, "Wow, Ross, are you crazy? You're a really expensive guy."
Well, no, not really.
Right? And I'm going to say, well, wait a minute now, Neil.
You're more expensive than I was up there.
I know. So here's the deal, Neil. Most people, remember what I said at the beginning? If you're not going to make more money with less work working with me, then you're not going to do a deal with me. So give me a chance here. But let's just look at, when he talks about the management, we got another little thing at the bottom of the spreadsheet that we can deal with management, if he really doesn't believe it. So let's go down here. This is the cost for a typical management company. So the management fees are usually 3 to 12% depending on the property. Now a typical property for a single family home is 10%. So annually, what did we say before, Neil?
We said 10%
10%
of
was
gross, 5280.
$5,280, okay?
That was
Would
over
be-
term.
Right, so $5,280,
Divided by 33 times 12.
right?
Oh, total over term, yeah.
Annually, 14,520.
No, because this is our total over term, and this is an annual number.
I know, 5,280, 52,000 a year, all over the term. So yeah, what was it?
Take that.
Yeah, I know.
Go
Sorry,
equals.
you're right. So
Sorry.
equals
Equals.
1,600 times 12, right?
Yep. Divided by 10.
Divided by 10. So 1,920 annually.
which gives us
5,280. Now usually they'll charge you 1 month fill every time it goes vacancy. So that would be $1,600. So if we could say one every one
I would
every,
say one vacancy over 60.
every okay, so we'll just say one time over the next 3 years.
And my property manager only charges me half a month's rent.
Oh, okay, so you want to go
Let's
$800?
go $800. That's negotiable sometimes.
And then if it's over the next 3 years, we could say
One.
250 annually.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, a little low, but say 300.
say 300 annually, so about 800 there.
perfect.
Okay, now does your management company charge you an eviction fee? If you have to evict somebody, usually they do. And if it's one, what does he charge you?
Well,
Because they have to do a lot of work to get the person out,
I have a special arrangement with my property manager.
so he doesn't charge you.
He doesn't. He puts the tenants in, so he's responsible for getting them out if they're bad.
Oh, okay. And sometimes, do you have an invoice payment fee that they charge you? If they pay invoices, or do you pay them all?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Do you have do they charge you a maintenance fee? Usually it could be 10% on
markup.
On markup.
Markup on the they charge me like 10% actually. Yeah.
10%.
10%
So we said
stuff.
2,000 a year up here. We could say $200 a year annually.
Sure.
And there's no reserve fund.
No.
Do they have a setup and an account fee? No.
No.
Okay. And no vacancy fee.
No.
Okay. So really, you're paying $2,420 a year, which would be $6,655 over the term. Which is, if you rent to own it, you won't have those fees.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, I'm charging you $6,600. Remember that?
Yep.
So I'm about what a typical property management company would charge. Usually I'm a little bit higher, but I tell them, don't worry about it. We're going to make it up at the end. Because I say, listen, if this doesn't work out to be better for you, then you're not going to do this deal, right?
I'm getting a pretty good deal of property management apparently.
All right. Okay, now we'll go back up here.
But you're also taking care of the repairs, aren't you?
Yeah. All right, so now, mortgage payout costs. We've got to pay out the mortgage at the end. So we go back over here at the mortgage amortization, the second tab at the bottom, and we go, well, the payout balance after 33 months will be $147,882.
Now, how'd that work?
Well,
Put in your 6
because we put in the 6 years here, so the mortgage started out at $200,000, but after 6 years plus 33 months, it'll be down to $147,882. Okay, so we'll just put that in here. This is after 3 years, $147,882. It's going to be $147,882 here too. If you rent to own it yourself, if you rent to own it me, in the next 3 months it'll be, or 32 months, it'll be $147,882. But if you sell it now, in 5 months' time, it's going to be $163,293. Isn't this cool that this spreadsheet does all this work for you? I developed this. Yeah, right. Okay.
And guys, just as a side note, while you're here, Ross, you'll notice, guys, that the 33 months and the 5 months, that will change depending on what you put it in at the other.
On the other
It's
side.
dynamic. So it learns.
Yeah. So 163,
293.
293 is the payout there. Now, there wouldn't be a payout penalty if we do it here.
No, because we're going to
There wouldn't be a
this.
payout penalty if we do it here.
Nope.
There wouldn't be a payout penalty if we do it here, but there's probably a payout penalty if we do it right now.
Well, I got 9 months left on my term.
And you sell it in 5, they
So
might
I'd have, they'd say 3 months worth of payments.
probably.
And it's $983 per month.
So we could say 3 grand.
$3 grand.
All right. So payout cost would be 166 total. So now Neil, let's have a look at your total estimated profits, okay?
Okay.
If you continue to rent it, and 33 months from now you decide to sell it, you should make about $113,773. But Neil, if you decided to rent to own it, working on your own, you should make $177,000. That's pretty good, eh?
That's not bad.
If you decide to sell it today, I mean, just 5 months from now, decide to sell it, you should put about $70,000 in your pocket.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. But you don't like this negative $221,000.
I'm not paying you $221,000.
No, you know,
That's
but
just not gonna
see,
happen.
remember what I said, Neil? I want you to make more money working with me with less work on your part. Now, here's what we do, guys, is that we got to do some quick numbers in my head, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to plug in a number. Now this, because the reason it says negative here, we haven't plugged anything in here. All right. So what do you guys think this number should be? Well, let's just play with that. Today's fair market value is $350,000. What if I put $350,000 in that number in there? I'm just going to play with this a little bit, okay? Well, I would have already figured this out in my head, what number to put in there, but I just want to show you, okay? So if we do that, he would make, working with us, if we paid him today's fair market value, he would have made $128,000 versus $113,000 continuing to rent it, or $177,000. So here he has no work, here he does some work, and here he does a lot of work, okay? So which one does he like better so far? Well, that's 130, but what if I actually knew that the difference between this number here and this number here is what? It's about $60,000, $63,000.
64,000, yeah. 63, yeah. 63,000.
All right. And so if I went back up here and I said, okay, well, I'm going to add that $63,000 on, or take that 60. I'm going to get myself all confused here. How did I do this, Neil?
That's dividing by 2, isn't it? The difference between the two?
It's
63 divided by 2
is 30.
Yeah.
It's $30,000.
And then move your
And
mouse.
then, pardon me?
Just move your mouse so people can see the number.
$30,000, and I add I take $30,000 off of this number here at 385. I can make this one 355. That's right, 355,000. So take it off of that one, because that's full price. If I make my number 355, and I went down here now, I could actually say that he would make $133,000 working with me versus $113,000 doing it himself, or $177,000 working as, or doing the rent to own on his own. Now here's the good news. Here's why this spreadsheet is magic. Watch what I do now. I say, well, Neil, based on this, which one of these things is the least appealing to you? Because this whole process of what I'm doing now, guys, works on the premise that people can't make a decision, but they can make a choice. So watch this. Which one of these is the least appealing to you?
Sell today.
Selling today. So that leaves rent to own it with me, with no work on your part, doing the rent to own yourself, or renting it and then selling it by yourself
Yep.
later. Which one of those is the least appealing to you?
Out of those 3?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking at the numbers here, because that's what I'm going by. I would say renting and selling it by myself, because it's a lot of work and it's the least amount of money. So,
Oh, I forgot to add this in, Neil. $15,000 here. Made that 0. All right, there we go. All right, so now 162. What I just did there, guys, is I forgot to add in the rent-to-own program setup fee of $15,000. You can charge whatever you want. We charge people $15,000 to put a tenant in and do all the contracts. In other words, do that part of it for them, so that after the tenant's in and the contract is signed, then he takes over. All right, because he wouldn't know how to actually do this deal. Doing the option contracts and the lease contracts and everything. We do actually do that for him, and we charge him a fee of $15,000. Okay, so even doing a fee of $15,000, he's making 162, and he's doing 133 with us. So Neil, between doing the rent own yourself and us charging you $15,000 to set it up for you, or working with no part, work on your part and letting me do it, which one of these two would you like to do?
that's a really good question. So for the $15,000, do you guarantee that the tenant won't move out? I'm not going to have any
No.
problems with it?
What we're going to do for the $15,000 is we're going to put a qualified tenant in there. The reason we don't guarantee it is we have no control over the relationship that you'll have with the tenant. If you want me to, Neil, what I could do is I could continue to manage that tenant for you for a fee, and we charge 10% a month for that fee, and then I will guarantee that tenant will stay in there. But if you're going to take full control of this property, then you're doing it.
So for 10% a month, you'll guarantee no vacancies.
That's right. And I've charged you the $15,000 up front. But if you're going to,
And 10% of total months in?
yeah, that's correct.
I think I'd do that.
Okay. Now, guys, here's the deal. I actually, in my personal opinion, I want him to take this. I want to get that $15,000 right away. That would be perfect for me. I'm making $15,000, and I'm in and out in a month. I mean, most people will, you know, that's a nice little income for them, $15,000 in a month. Part-time, okay? That's not bad. But either one of these would work. If he says, well, I think I'll continue to rent it on my own, go for it. Nice doing business with you, all right? I want him to do whatever's best for him. If he says, well, I'd like to do this on my own, okay, we'll set it up for you for $15,000, that's awesome. If he says, hey, I'll make $134,000 and have no work on my part, oh, that's great too. If he says he just wants to sell it today, fantastic, maybe I'll buy the house from him. You know, if he's selling it at a good price, I say, well, how about this deal? You're going to sell it for, you said $340, but you're going to pay a realtor $320 or $22,000 or $20,000. Why don't I just buy it from you today for $320? Hey, the place is worth $350. Then I'll turn around and make it a rent to own. You see, when you use this spreadsheet, this thing is awesome because he can't argue with himself. Whatever he decides down here is good for you. It doesn't matter. So what we did with this spreadsheet was we took my negotiation things that I usually did in my head and we put it into a spreadsheet so that you can do this and go and meet with any owner and just fill in the blanks, and you can use this video. Hope this is being helpful to you. Neil,
Yep.
Thank you for participating in this. Hope this is going to be a lot of help to you. And if you have any other questions or if I can help you in any way, you know how to get a hold of me at farmerlogic.com, Ross at farmerlogic.com. I'll be happy to help you. I know Neil, you'll be happy to help.
Absolutely.
All right. And Neil really is the creator of all this stuff. He's a genius when it comes to this stuff, and appreciate it so much. Love having you on the team there, buddy.
Good seeing you.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you.